You're listening to The Imposter Entrepreneur with Miss Tiffany Menefee. Let's lay down some ground rules. We're going to talk about business, life, relationships, alcohol, because more than likely we're going to be drinking while we're recording this, because let's be realistic, all entrepreneurs have a vice, and there's probably going to be some cursing going on.
And yet, let's not forget that Miss Tiffany will probably say something highly offensive and not realize it's offensive. So if y'all aren't down with that, stop listening right now.
But if you're chill and not easily offended, then the Imposter Entrepreneur podcast is for you. Remember to follow us on all our social media pages and subscribe to our podcast. Now let's just jump into this week's topic. Okay, we are live. We have our cherry lime Ritas here today for the Imposter Entrepreneur while we let some people go ahead and start logging on. You know, officially, I was going to be classy today, Lorena. I really was. And I was going to get glasses and have like wine. Well, and then entrepreneur life happened, and we were getting this at Walgreens, not even Walgreens, at Family Dollar. 5 minutes before the podcast, and now the guy actually thinks like Tuesdays are my party night.
Well, I guess
he's
they
like,
are. He might be
he's
right.
like, you got like a girl's 40. I mean, is that what you call this? Is this like would be considered a 40?
Well.
Like if it was beer? I'm not sure. So if y'all are just tuning in, and you probably are since we just started, we have our drinks, and I have one of my BFFs, Miss Lorena Lowe, with me today. And Miss Lorena, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lorena Lowe, born in El Paso, native here, raised in Juarez, educated here, lives here, works here.
And she just basically changed her voice to her business voice.
Right.
Because before y'all came on, she was doing her "Who's Your Daddy" voice on the thing. So she makes
get
love.
Get me warmed up.
She makes love
and
to
I
the
will,
camera.
I will.
That's the real Lorena.
Oh.
That it is. So Lorena, how did we meet? We were just talking about this.
Well, it was back March, like we said, in 2016.
And we
launched,
just became fast friends, right?
No, right away. I launched the first Cocktails with Friends. By coincidence, it was luck, and it was St. Patrick's.
Yes.
And we had it at a hotel back in, do you remember that? The Embassy Suites? I guess that's what it is. And it was a big hit. You were there, and we met a lot of people that night. But I remember being overwhelmed.
And I was not, because I like to go around and drink and talk to people.
I know, you do too. But you already wanted to be part of Cocktails with Friends that very first night that we met.
We did. So
you wanted to take care of it. I told you I couldn't, but I invited you to my morning
I like
event.
evening events because during the day I'm super busy with work. And so,
Right.
So Lorena, let me ask you, so you're a sales professional, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes, say
most people say sales professional, don't think entrepreneurship, right?
Oh God, it is entrepreneurship.
But it is entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So give me so I like to do this like Tinder for businesses.
Okay.
Like if we were a business dating site, tell me what would be on your business dating site. Like what should we expect when we go with Lorena? Like really?
A business dating
Yeah, it's like a business
site.
dating site. This is like Tinder for business. Like give me your
How would I sell myself?
Yeah, like give me like if you had a Tinder site, what would be on that site in reference to you as a business? I mean, hot mess would be on mine, but I think that is every entrepreneur that is out there. If you say you're not a hot mess, I believe you're a liar.
Right. I think describing who I am in the career path, basically, I work in the financial services, and building trust is probably the greatest challenge. But being in the industry for over 15 years, and my clients who have seen me be with them, grow with them, and how their lives have changed, I think being an entrepreneur is someone who doesn't really have to show how much you really know, but more about how much you really care.
I agree with that. I think the best entrepreneurs are ones that, care about their customers and stuff. What's your favorite saying when you talk to customers or when we're out in public?
Well, you mean when I'm networking?
Yes. What is your favorite? It's my favorite.
Well,
Okay, so Lorena, if you didn't know, sells life insurance. And anything else besides life insurance?
Of course, we do retirement, we do annuities,
So
and we long-term care, is anything to take care of your assets.
If we're out in public and we have to do like a 30-second speech, what do you end with, Lorena?
I say, basically I say, Well, I'd say a lot of things, but the main the main thing I say, if you died in your sleep tonight, who would suffer financially and emotionally without you?
She says,
and then I ask,
"Who loves you,
baby? Who loves you? Who loves you?"
And that's true, and I love
That's
that.
the main question, and people forget that that's what this is all about. And it's not what I do, life insurance, long-term care. It's more finding out who loves you, who needs this, what's important, what matters most to you, because at the end of the day, it's all about you.
True. And being an entrepreneur in sales, do you have any background?
Well, yes, of course.
You have background in sales?
All the time I've been
Like
entrepreneur.
somebody taught you how to do sales?
Never. I don't even know what
Okay,
sales
well,
are.
then you don't
Okay, never mind. Okay, I get your question.
FYI,
Okay,
I need
fine.
to- I need to
Detailed
plan-
question.
I
I'm
need to plan
sorry. I
this-
need another drink.
I need to plan this outfit out better because this looks like a muumuu on camera, and it is super cute with go-go boots when I am standing up, just for the people that did not see the picture earlier. I just want to throw that out there because I'm very random. So I think most of us as sales professionals, because let's be realistic, if we're an entrepreneur, we're a salesperson. I mean, it really is that. I mean, we have to sell our business. We have to sell ourselves to get that business in. It's not like people just flock to us because they like us and say,
Right.
"Oh, I'm just going to give you all this money because
Well, I kind of
just
thought
think you're
so
fabulous."
in the beginning, but it didn't work out that way.
That's a bunch of lies right there.
Well, I think that, first of all, sales, it's such a difficult word to define. It has a negative.
It does. It has a
Cognitive, it's
negative
just-
connotation. So entrepreneur is so much easier. But like when you think of life sales professionals or retirement or this, everybody thinks of sales professionals. But realistically, you're an entrepreneur, and we don't think about that. But you don't come from that industry. What did you do before you were a salesperson? Before you were an entrepreneur?
I think everybody. I mean, I was an entrepreneur before. I've never really had an individual boss. I was a language instructor for over 25 years, and then I opened up my own language school. So yes, I've been an entrepreneur, and it's always been finding clients, getting business, and
Do you have a college degree?
I do not.
And do you what is your
And
opinion
yet I
of
have
it?
100 hours of credit. I could actually graduate, but I took so many classes because I couldn't find myself. And at the time, I was doing so well financially that back in the day,
And
college.
she's still doing well financially. Don't let her fool you.
But back then in the day, I mean, college wasn't as competitive as I see my children struggling today. How college is everything, and not just your bachelor's, but you have to work for your master's and,
I mean,
and move forward.
But
It's-
personally, if you look at it, most entrepreneurs don't have any type of bachelor's degree or master's degree. Some do, and that's great.
Right.
But a lot of us don't. I think a lot of entrepreneurship is charisma.
What
Right?
if you don't have it? Then
Well,
you're
if you don't,
screwed.
well, if you don't have it, what happens? How many businesses do we see that fail? They say in the first 5 years. Well, really, in the first year, a lot of entrepreneurs fail in a business. In the first 5 years is tried and true if you're going to make it or not. I mean, personally, still, I'm like, I still have one more year before my 5-year mark, and it's like, oh shit, yes, I do cuss online, and my mother gets mad every single time.
Your
so.
mom watches this? Oh my.
Well, I forewarned my father not to watch, so there's that.
Hi, Mom.
Who knows? I blocked her from a lot of stuff, so FYI. But I still love her. So, but as an entrepreneur, it's hard, and a lot of it is charisma. And we have people. I mean, I think we see people all the time that are in sales, and they're out there and they're entrepreneurs and they're trying to sell their product and they don't make it because they don't have that charisma. Because it's important, wouldn't you say?
I don't know. I mean, it's a combination of everything. I think sometimes you also have to have product knowledge. Sometimes if you're not certain about what you're doing, you show that uncertainty, and that feels uncomfortable. So I mean, it's a combination of so many things. And you don't have to be attractive or anything, but you do have to be excited. And I think you do have to be, I guess, eager enough to want to make it happen.
What's one of the biggest things that helped you as an entrepreneur? Because I know you've been through Toastmasters, and I mean, I still, FYI, I want to do Toastmasters.
Yes.
I just have never actually done it because I signed myself up for doing things like Imposter Entrepreneur, and I think this is a great idea.
You beat wonderful at Toastmasters, and I
feel,
have to tell you.
I almost feel like Toastmasters might refine me a little too much and take away some of what everybody loves about me. That, or it could be white privilege, as my office people say, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Yes, Valerie, I just threw that out there, so you can cringe at me at the office tomorrow.
Well, I think that when I was in the industry and I started, someone told me that I wouldn't succeed if I didn't do professional development, become a better speaker, and get referral sources. And how was I supposed to do that? Well, professional development is all around us. It's just an option to do it, just like it is to go to the gym and exercise.
It's hard. I think professional development is probably one of my hardest things because I get bored. And for me, I would rather do stuff with other businesses and learn from other businesses and other business professionals than do actual professional development. But I mean, that's just my personal opinion. So you have to find what works for you. I think what I've had one of the hardest things with is I feel like we talked about Tinder, like business Tinder,
Right.
But I feel like sometimes, like when I'm trying, and tell me if you ever feel this way, because you're trying to set sales meetings and appointments so you can learn about people. And I almost feel like sometimes, like earlier today, I was trying to set a meeting and it's a fleet account and I really want it. And every time I see the person, he's like, yes, we're going to do business. This is going to be great. And I'm like, okay, great. And then he's like, message me and we're going to set up an appointment. And then I message him and then it's like radio silence. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm business dating. I am business dating.
Know.
And this sucks. And do you have that happen to you also?
Good
do you
God,
feel
all
like
the
you're business
time.
dating?
All the time. And I even get traded off by a guy.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd want to work with a girl.
Yeah, and then sometimes like I'm gonna call. They like the other day like, oh, we love you, you're the best. And then like I see like, why is your truck at another body shop? Why is it there? If you said you were going to go with me, it's hard.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And
Yes,
to
it
not be
is.
offended, but it's hard. And especially like I was trying to set this meeting. Every time I see this fucker, like he's like, yes, every time, Lorena, like act like I never heard me curse. Like every time I see him, he's like, yes, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do business with you. And then like, okay, let's set it up. Let's do this. And then like to get him to confirm, it's like we are like we are not really dating people. We are going like having drinks and we're talking business. Is not like really dating. It is like business. Like stop being a little bitch. Like just respond to me.
Well, I think
Or
the
if you
same
don't
thing-
want to do business, just say it. Just say it.
I did the same thing with a client. I yelled at her. How do you like that?
I love it.
I
I
did.
love it.
I yelled at her. This is the thing. 2 years ago, I approached her with life insurance, and she didn't qualify because she was anemic.
Okay.
I begged her to go to the doctor. Go to the doctor and get checked. Because even the one underwriter said, you better tell her to go to the doctor and get checked. And this is a very busy business professional.
She's not talking about me, FYI.
This is someone who owns a big company and takes care of her company so much that doesn't take care of her health. And that happens all the time.
True that with entrepreneurs.
Well,
Y'all take care of
get
yourself.
this.
It's hard, but we have
I
to.
made her go to the doctor. The doctor told her to go to the hospital. She had a transfusion. She
Oh my
had a
gosh.
bunch of, she spent days in the hospital. She thanked me for practically saving her life. 6 months later, she goes and applies for life insurance with
somebody
XYZ company, with who knows what agent. And I'm like, are you kidding me? When I approached her to reapply because
And
now
you
she
tried
qualified.
so hard and you had so much
And
heart.
and she tells me she applied with XYZ. I yelled at her.
Yeah.
I go, do you really want XYZ company and Mr. Green polyester pants take care of you? I mean, seriously? I've been an agent for over 15 years, and this guy's I've been an agent for 6 months. Who knows if he'll even last? What were you thinking of? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to work with? And she's like, you. And I go, well, you better.
And what happened?
So she's applying with me.
But it's hard,
And-
right? Will you put all this
but
time and effort
I
into
couldn't
these
believe
people?
it. I couldn't believe it. And then she apologized. She got it. But you see, Tiffany, we're at a point right now in our careers where we can be outspoken. We can say these things because
Lorena,
I'm
I've
not
always
gonna-
been outspoken. There's never been a problem with that.
No, there is not. There isn't. And it's the best thing to do because if people see that about you, then that shows what a real person you really are.
I don't think we have a problem about seeing how real I am.
Well, no, actually, people like to work with people who are real.
And I agree with that. People, I mean,
and people can see it.
people can't. People aren't stupid. If you're a salesperson, people aren't stupid. They like know like who you are, and if you're putting on a fake front, they'll see it. I mean, dude, I get thrown over under the bus by my office people all the time. They're like, sometimes I'm on the phone, I'm like, hi, this is Tiffany with Pronto Body Shop. How can I help you? And then I get off the phone, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so tired. Like that person drained me, and they're like, but we all do it. We all do it as business professionals. We have our entrepreneur voice that we put on that when we answer the phone and try to smile and make that come across. But it's hard. But I feel like I could not go back and do why I obviously did not turn off my service on my phone. So my bad, people. But I feel like, dude, I couldn't go back to like the dating world because this shit is hard. Like, why didn't he call me back? Why didn't he text me back? Why didn't she go with me?
It's even worse. I mean,
worse.
if it was like a dating kind of thing, I mean, who cares next? But when you're talking about your
my
business
financial
and your finances
future, my
and,
company's financial
and
future,
your reputation
and
and
my
your career, everything, it all counts.
It's really hard. So I want to go into one of my favorite subjects. And so I don't know, have you watched this? She probably hasn't even watched this because it's only like episode 3, but it's called, and I stole this off of my sister-in-law. So it's High, Low, Buffalo. And if you've watched the first couple episodes, it's give me your high. And it can be a business high the last year or so of something that just was like, oh God, that's amazing. And give me a low of something like you're like, fuck my life. Like this is a low. And then a buffalo is just something that's surprising because would you see a buffalo walking across the street? You wouldn't. It would be surprising. It's something surprising that happened in your business. And so you might need a moment to think about it. Or do you have a high right off the bat?
I have a lot of highs off the bat.
Like, wait, what's a high that you just like, oh, this is why I do it. This is what I love. And like, this is a high. And it could be something super, super minor. It doesn't have to be anything like life changing. But sometimes like people, like, dude, I had a lady that I didn't think we did the best job. I mean, we did a good job on her vehicle, but as far as like keeping up to date with her and giving her updates as we were going, I didn't think we did the best job. She thought we did amazing. And I was like, oh, like she thinks we did so good, but I thought we could have improved. And she was so pleased with us. Like she brought us like pastries today from Bowie's Bakery. And that was so sweet. And like those are for me, like the highs that are very minor that like keep me going as a business owner and a business professional that, hey, those customers, even in the moments where we think we could have done better, they see that we care and stuff. And so like those are highs for me. Do you have a high?
Of course. I think the greatest high I ever got, even though it was full of sadness, was the first claim and that was a different kind of high, very difficult to explain. But when I understood what I was doing and when I saw a single mother pass away and her 16-year-old daughter curled up in the couch, I remember going to the house and meeting the beneficiary, the sister. I mean, money was never going to bring her back, but what that money did for her and her daughter is the reason that it fulfilled me. It gave her security and made me understand that I have a very noble job.
You weren't just a sales professional in that moment.
No, and it's not sales. It's what we do in the industry, and it's so misunderstood by, well, I guess with everybody and with every industry, how it's tarnished by what other people do. But understand in your industry as well. I mean, you always find auto shops that do wham, bam, bad professional work.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of jobs.
Yes. And that's okay. But as sales professionals, as entrepreneurs, with years of experience and growth, people will know who you are and what you really mean and what you really value. But that, even though it was a low, was the greatest high in my career.
Because you finally saw, like, this is what
I'm doing. This is what I'm doing.
It's a service that you could feel proud about.
Exactly.
And I think some of the best entrepreneurs are ones that have passion for what they're doing.
Right.
Would you agree?
Oh, of course.
Because I see sales professionals all the time and entrepreneurs, and they're just sales professionals.
But see,
they don't care.
That's where they need professional development, and they don't think they do, or maybe they like it, and once they do, investing in yourself is the best way to make yourself a better professional in anything, in any way that you do, and either going to Toastmasters, and I mean, there's so many webinars and many educational programs out there.
Build your tribe.
Right.
Like I'm fortunate enough to have a wonderful tribe of business professionals that always lift me up, and I think you do too. And I think that that's really important, even if it's people within your own industry, because sometimes I run into people and they're like, why are you friends with other people in your industry?
Of course
and
you
I'm
are.
like, yeah, well, that's how you develop, because
Yeah.
they might be going through a challenge that, you know, you're not as familiar with and that they can help you with. What would be a low in your career or in that you've you know, had happen? I mean,
The
I mean,
greatest low I
earlier,
ever had.
I mean, do you have a
The
really
greatest,
low?
Yeah, the greatest low I ever had was that.
It doesn't have to be the greatest. It should just
No,
be a
in my
low.
industry.
I mean,
no, not in my industry, of course.
you're okay.
In-
I mean,
in-
it doesn't have to be just be a low
no,
as
it was
a
a real
business
low.
professional.
Business low professional was I was working for AIG during the crash. And here I am, AIG, the kicking bandit for the financial crisis, which really wasn't, if you go back and look at it.
AIG was the motto was like, if your money's green, we're going to insure it, and that is not a
told
good
me,
motto.
They told me to fold up my AIG T-shirts and put them away, okay?
You're like,
And I go, fold them? What? I'm going to wear them. I'm proud. And, well, I just, that was a real
AIG
low.
crashed and burned, if y'all don't know.
And I remember that we were trying to recruit a very prominent agent here in El Paso. And it was the day of the slam, and we were there, and we were trying to recruit him to AIG, and AIG's on over the TVs in his office, and we're like,
You're like,
oh God.
don't look at the TV.
Don't
It's
look at it.
okay.
Let me keep talking to you. And that same day, too, the next day, I was in BNI, and I had to go to BNI, which, for those of you who don't know what BNI is, it's a business networking international meeting where you could stand up in front of a group and you always say, a perfect referral for me, and you stand up and do an elevator speech.
And you know what? I'm part of BNI now, and it has even.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's made me the person I am, and that's professional development.
It is.
Again.
It's not
There
for
you go.
everybody, but for me, it taught
It
me
is.
how to make connections with people, and that was really important because I didn't have any money starting off as an entrepreneur for any type of marketing, and so
Right.
I had to sell myself, and BNI really taught me that.
There we go. Investing in yourself.
Investing in yourself.
Professional development.
So-
That's what
so
BNI was.
AIG, their crash was your low.
I stood up in front of everybody, and everybody's doing their elevator speech, and it's my turn. And the financial guy was not there. The other insurance agents were there. I had to stand up and be there and fess up to.
My company went under.
And I'm standing up and I say, hello, I'm Lorena Lowe. I work with AIG, American General Life and Accident. And a perfect referral for me is someone who doesn't have a television. and they all started laughing. But it was okay, because I think that's part of life. Our growing pains are what makes us the person that we are. We're supposed to be.
How hard was that to stand up and say that?
Oh, well, how hard was it to stand up and stay in the industry?
It's hard.
I had to save all my policies. I had to tell clients that the industry, the financial crisis is bad, but
you still need this. You still need this.
nothing's going to happen to the life insurance. It's safe. It's secure. And I learned a lot about security and how it works. So
I mean, it's hard. Do you ever have days you cry as an entrepreneur?
like every other day.
Yeah, I mean, the other day, I love it that sometimes I put stuff real on like my social media, and people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not okay. Look at me. Like, I'm a hot mess. I think yesterday I put up, I was like, look, you know, the best thing about like false eyelashes is that your mascara doesn't cry, like run when you cry.
I never thought of that.
And it is fabulous because
look like-
I was like upset and like literally something happened in the morning. It was a hot mess at the shop and I just couldn't deal with it. And of course my emotions get the best of me, and dude, I'm a girl. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm in a man's industry, but still I'm a girl. And so I'm like walking out there and I'm like just crying, and I'm like, you know what? At least when I'm crying, I don't have mascara running down my face because I have false eyelashes on, thanks to Bree, my office manager, because I make her do everything. Love you, Bree. But then I come back in and I just like bossed up and like, okay, yes, I'm crying, but I don't have mascara running down my face, and like let me, like I'm crying, and then like the phone rings. I'm like, Pronto Body Shop, this is Tiffany, you know, because that's just what you have to do, you know, even though you're crying. And then like Valerie, my marketing manager, sends me a post this morning, and it said something, I don't know, about crying. crying, but bossing up. And I was like, and I was like, yes, for yesterday when I was crying. And she was like, you were crying yesterday? She was like, I didn't even notice. I was like, well, thank you for paying attention to me. We might need to talk about that, Valerie. But it was like, okay.
Because you put on a face and nobody notices.
You boss up. You boss up. How many times do y'all boss up? And obviously, I don't have my computer today to even look to see who's making comments. But if you have like comments or you want us to answer questions, just throw it out there. But as business professionals
Boss
and
up.
entrepreneurs,
I like that.
we boss up all the time, don't we? How many times have you been upset or crying, and then the phone rings and it's that person that you need to be talking to, and you need that call, and you suck it up and you answer that call because it's business.
Right. Business is business, and you go on. And sometimes that gives you strength to move forward, and then you remember that you have your daily goals, and then you just brush it off. I mean, you can't let it wear you down, because if you do, then you're not focused, and then all hell goes loose, right?
Or in my case, I turn my tears into vodka at the bar. I mean, why do you look at me that way? Why?
And why haven't you invited me to this?
Well, I will next time.
Okay.
When I need to turn.
Hello, I only live like a block away.
When I need to turn tears into vodka, I will call you.
Call me anytime.
It works really well. It does. I mean,
and that's my drink, actually.
Is it?
It is.
what is?
It's a skinny drink. It doesn't. It makes you very light.
That, or if you get super crazy, like, okay, so I'm not gonna lie. The other day we went to, it's gala season here. We went to a gala, the Star Gala. It's an open bar. Thank you to LNF. It's always an open bar. We may have had a lot to drink, and I might have had to call Revive the next day to get IV so I could go to work, because I did not want to lay in bed all day being hungover. As an entrepreneur, I'd rather boss up and get the IV so I could go back into work and handle my shit at the office. And of course, the office was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like, and I did get some shit because, like, I texted my staff. I was like, "FYI, can y'all please make sure that y'all are there because I'm going to be a little bit late." And they're like, "Why?" I was like, "Cause I'm hungover." And they're like, "Who are we talking to? You're hungover?" I was like, "You know what? It happens like once a year. Y'all just like humor me, like deal with it." So. Tell me a Buffalo. Tell me something that's surprising that's happened in business or life recently that affected you, that it was just surprising.
Goodness.
I mean, I guess a Buffalo for me would be that I got drunk and had to call Revive so I could go into work. You don't have a Buffalo that's surprising? Something that just surprised you out of the blue in business, and it was just like, oh, I never expected that.
Well, I mean, it happens, but I can't think of anything at the moment. No.
Our relationship, was that surprising?
I guess it could be surprising, yes.
I think we come from the same industry, and sometimes you have an instant connection with people, and those are people that you should bring part of your tribe. And me and Lorena definitely had that. Sometimes we send people over to pick up dead cats out of her yard.
Oh,
if she needs
yes.
that. Sometimes you have things that happen, and you just don't want to deal with it. And
well, I have to say, I think, Tiffany, the reason why we're friends is because if I ever need anything, if something goes wrong, the first person I think of is you. I mean, and it's probably because of everything that you know, or maybe it's because of everything you don't know.
I will admit it. Like, if I don't know something,
it doesn't matter.
I like to say
the fact that you care. That's
I do care.
all that matters.
I like to say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Thanks to my father, that's his favorite phrase, and I think I'm very similar. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how to do that, but let me find out. We can figure it out. I can Google this.
Or we can find somebody that can do it.
We can find somebody to do it.
And let's find somebody that's not expensive.
Yes.
Because you did that one time, too.
Yes. Yes.
That's affordable, yes.
Because we're entrepreneurs and we're cheap. Let's be realistic. We want people to pay for our services at the price that we're requesting because we provide amazing services. But as an entrepreneur, we're also about the bottom line. So we really need the services that we need for ourselves to be reasonable and cheap. And so, yes, maybe entrepreneurs are a little bit hypocritical. I mean, just throwing it out there. Like, Yes. Entrepreneurs can be hypocritical. I'm hypocritical all the time. So, I mean.
And you've always been an entrepreneur, too. I mean.
I have. I do.
Go back to.
I do not do well with people telling me what to do.
Really? Well, I don't know what it is. When they tell me what to do, I'm like, what?
Well, usually this
was
is what
like, I
happens.
give my what
Have
look.
y'all ever
I'm
had
like,
this as an
what?
entrepreneur? People will tell you, like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that, but they don't tell you what you should be doing. And so I feel like sometimes that's just like, you know what, you're not an entrepreneur. You haven't taken that leap. You're telling me what to do, but you're not giving constructive criticism or constructive anything that I can take and move forward with it. You're just telling me you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Oh, you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, that's
Well,
great.
why?
Well, why not? What should I do? What should I do
Right.
differently? But they don't ever tell me like, hey, it's just like, hey, Tiffany, well, you should be working on your business, not in your business. I'm like, well, that's fucking great. I would love to be working on my business and not in it, but I don't have enough employees to work in my business at this point, so I still have to work in it. So why don't you get off your high horse and go suck it? Is
Right.
basically my thought process. Sometimes I don't say that. It's like stuck in my head, but
Well, sometimes we say a lot of things in our head and we don't really say it out loud. Thank
Well,
God.
thank-
But sometimes I do yell out, oh, was I thinking out loud? And sometimes that does happen.
I do yell out, was I thinking out loud sometimes also. Oscar, let me ask you, do we have any questions on anybody?
Oh, comments.
Wait, we have comments? Wait, he's going to give me a phone. People that matter don't mind. Those don't matter do mind. We stay tough and keep going. That is right. We do keep going as business entrepreneurs, even if we have to cry through our fake eyelashes and hide behind a car and then move on. I think props to my guys at my business, because sometimes I can be a little ridiculous and they'll find me like, I'll be like hunched down, like crying, and they'll be like, you're doing great. I'm like, am I? Am I doing great? And they're like, yes, Miss Tiffany, you're doing great. It's
are.
okay. And I'm like, I don't know. So it's okay to cry, but just boss up, right?
Right.
Boss up.
It's okay.
Do you have any other words of wisdom before like we sign off? And FYI, we will go back and count how many times she like was shocked that I cursed, even though we freaking are together all the time.
I know, but
and
we're live. Your mother's watching. I'm kind of worried.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Señora, su hija es muy linda, eh?
My mother's white girl. She don't know no Spanish. She crazy.
You're a white girl from the hill country.
I am a white girl from the hill country, but
I love the
as-
white girl from the hill country.
As we always say, I'm a burrito. I'm white on the outside, brown on the inside.
When I saw you and you have your different little voice and your different color complexion and your cute little...
And the more excited I get, the more of a lisp I have.
I love your lisp, yes. And I said, who is this woman, man?
So, do
Who
you have
are
any?
you?
Do you have any words of wisdom for any of our people before we sign off?
I think the same words of wisdom that you would tell anybody that's an entrepreneur: don't give up. Sometimes we have our downs, but if you have your goals and you really, really want to reach them, you can make it happen. It's just all a mindset.
It's not easy. It's not
but it's a
easy.
mindset, and if you believe you can, you will.
I
If
think
you-
so.
Yes.
I think
have a positive mindset. and-
my words of wisdom are always like, this is not easy. You're going to cry. You're going to be upset. Your bank account is probably going to not like you for a few years, but
But it will later.
it will later.
It'll work out.
And, it all works out in the end. And sometimes it's not meant to be, but, if you really want it, it'll happen. So y'all make sure, if y'all like us, that y'all follow us, and we'll check you out next week and see what we have to say, because it's always something new and exciting. Lorena asked me what we were going to talk about when I got on, and I said, I don't
No
really know.
idea.
I have 2 bullet points that we talk about, and so we'll see what actually happens. So I think it was always fun, Lorena.
It
and I
is.
think
It's always fun.
it's always fun. So we're just friends on here talking about how it's hard to do business. So if y'all ever need anything, y'all reach out to us here at Imposter Entrepreneur, and we will see y'all next week.
See you.